Hello, and welcome to the December 2023 monthly update. I hope you've all had a good Christmas, and I hope you've had a good year. So yeah, that's it. Goodbye. No, I hope you had a good year. I have. It's been somewhat productive. Probably mostly for painting. I've done a couple of films as well. Some films that I think are actually quite good. I've done a lot more reading this year. I've actually read 3 complete books this year, which is a lot for me. So I'm quite impressed with myself there. 4, if you include the first part of the Illuminatus trilogy. So 4 complete books this year, and I'm about halfway through another one, Neutron Star. So yeah, it's been pretty good. So we'll start as always with the things I've done this month. And that's this month, of course, not this year. I did a me painting, episode 26, where I painted a painting called Number 35, which, you know, if you enjoy paintings, you can watch that. I can't remember which one it was. Which one is it? Ah, that one, yeah. And I did a quite interesting thing with this, where I have like a split screen off to the side showing the painting, which I'm quite happy with, so I like that. I did a short film called En Route, which is made up of footage from my last holiday. I intended to do something a bit more interesting with it, but I couldn't be bothered at the end. That was several months ago. I just thought I want to get it out before the end of the year, so I just stuck it all together. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. And I did a single for Moid called Your Red Shoes. It's about Hollywood and the conspiracy theory, which I do not believe. It's just, it makes for a good song. I don't actually think this. Where the conspiracy theory where they make people into shoes. It's not true. You know, for anyone in Hollywood watching, don't kill me. I don't really believe it. But it just makes for, it's an interesting story. It makes for a good song. So I wrote about it. And also, if it does turn out to be true, it'll look really sort of prophetic, and I'll be hailed as a genius after I'm dead, so that's great. So that's that. That's what I've done this month. Next month, starting on the 2nd of January, I'm going to be replaying on the other channel, on the gaming channel, which I believe is linked in the description. It is. First link in the last section, the other stuff. I will be live streaming me replaying Alien Isolation, because next year it will be 10 years since that game first came out, and it's my favourite game, my favourite story-based game that I've ever played. I mean, I played it 5 years ago, so I didn't play it when it first came out, but I watched PewDiePie play it when it first came out, and I actually rewatched his entire playthrough this month to get me back in the mood for it. Because obviously I've already played it, and I'd seen him play it before I played it, so I already know all the story and everything. But the reason I'm starting it on the 2nd is because that will be exactly 5 years to the day where I first started playing it the first time. And so the game is 10 years old, and my first playthrough will be 5 years old on the 2nd. So over the next month, I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to do the whole game next month, because I'll just live stream it as often as I can. Because obviously I share my Steam account with my brother. I really need to get my own, but I can't be bothered. It's effort, you know what I mean? So I'll be playing that. Hopefully I'm better, because I wasn't great. I hope I don't have to cheat this time, because I had to cheat a little bit last time, because it was so difficult. Even on easy mode, the alien, I'm crap, so the easy mode is still hard for me. I'd like to think after 5 years, I mean, I still don't play games that often. I played games more often then than I do now. I'd like to think I've gotten a little bit better. I mean, there are things I thought about, because I rewatched his playthrough, and I thought, you know, the alien scared the flamethrower. You can also make Molotov cocktails, which you can throw, and I thought maybe those would probably scare away the alien. I didn't really do strategy when I played it the first time. I'd like to think I'm a bit more smart about it this time, so we'll find out. You'll see on the second if I'm any better at it than I was the first time. So that's that. I'm looking forward a lot to that, because I love that game. I've only played it the once, so I think replaying it is going to be very fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Now we move on to films I've watched. I've watched quite a few, actually. Most of these links have expired because, oh yeah, my stupid YouTube, because I got a copyright strike for no reason, and no, it was a community guidelines strike. It wasn't like an active one; it was like a warning, but it just restricted all this stuff, which means I can't pin comments, and certain links to anything other than YouTube get blocked, which is, it's just really annoying. But anyway, I watched Don't Look Now from 1973, which has Donald Sutherland in it. It was pretty good. I didn't understand the plot until reading the Wikipedia page afterwards, but now that I've read the Wikipedia page, it is a really interesting plot. I didn't understand it while watching, but having read it, now I get it. I'll have to rewatch it at some point, but it was good. I enjoyed it, you know, as a film. You know, like the visuals and the music and all that. I don't really need to understand a plot to enjoy a film. It helps, obviously, but it especially if it's a good plot. But this was very good. I mean, I like Donald Sutherland anyway, even though literally the only other film I've seen him in is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But just from these two films, he's already like one of my favourite actors. I've seen him in 2 films, so it's, you know, shows how good he is. So that's that. Then I watched 2010, the year we made contact, which is 1984. It is the sequel to 2001, and is not very good. I've read the book. I've read all 4 Space Odyssey books. This film cuts out my favourite bit from the book, which is the bit where this team of Chinese astronauts lands on Europa, and there's like life underneath the ice. That was my favourite sequence in the book. Completely cut out of the film. The special effects are awful. Like they're alright, but it's like they haven't compiled them properly. So all the different layers, like the astronauts and they haven't done white balance. So they're all different colours. Like the space will be like blue, and the astronauts will be yellow, and the ship will be green, and it'll be like they'll all be tinted different colours. And it's just like, surely by 1984 they could do the special effects at least as good as they did in 1968. But no, apparently they couldn't be bothered. So it's really boring. It's just a straight film. It's not an art film like 2001 was. So it loses pretty much all the magic. It's a good science fiction film, but as a sequel to one of the greatest art films of all time, it doesn't hold a candle, really. So that's that. I mean, it's all, like I say, it's a good science fiction film. If you just want to watch a science fiction film, you'll probably enjoy this more. I mean, I've heard of people who enjoy this more than the first one, because they're just looking for a science fiction film, and that's fine. But as someone who prefers the more art side of stuff, I still love science fiction, obviously. Like, I've got... but yeah, I'm currently reading a Larry Niven book, so I like science fiction, I love it. But, you know, when a film is a sequel to an art film, you expect it to be an art film when it's just a straight science fiction film. Anyway. Then I watched The House on the Cemetery from 1981, Lucio Fulci. It is the final in his Gates of Hell trilogy. Probably the least interesting plot-wise, but the best visually. Like, has the best cinematography of the 3, in my opinion. But it's the least interesting plot. But it's still pretty good. I mean, I like Lucio Fulci. It's just great. I love the zooms that Italian filmmakers have. Quick zooms. So that's pretty good. Then, the most recent South Park special, Not Suitable for Children. much better than the last one. I hated the last one. There wasn't a single joke in it. It was awful. This one's much better. I actually laughed during this one, so this one was good. So I really don't know what to say. It's about Logan Paul and how much of a tosser he is. And it's just, you know, it's funny. It also has an interesting main cast. It's Cartman, Butters, Tweak, and Clyde. And Tweak and Clyde are two characters who I feel have not had their... There's several others as well, but they're two who I've always felt have not really had their chance to shine as often as they should have. They've each had maybe a couple of episodes based around them, but even then not entirely, you know. So it's good to have them have more, you know, I just like them, so it's good to have them have more in the spotlight. Then I watched Phantasm from 1979. One of the classic films, in fact, two classic films. You'll see the next one as well. But it's one of the classic films that I just haven't seen, and so I thought, all right, I'll watch it because I was recommended it on Christmas Day by one of the guests. My mum's sister's boyfriend told me about it. And told me it's a good film. He gets all the like we were talking about films, and particularly because we were talking about Italian films, and he got all the information wrong, and he got like, because obviously it's probably been years since he's seen them, so he got a lot of stuff backwards. But it was, you know, I'm glad that you recommended this film because I'd heard about it, but I hadn't gotten around to watch it. It was quite good. It wasn't amazing. I've heard the sequels are better, or I've heard that the second one's better. I'll need to watch it, but I haven't got around to yet. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed parts of it. I know one thing I know about it is that the tall man inspired Slender Man, which, you know, when I was younger was one of my favourite bits of the internet. Particularly, I mean, even again, just literally yesterday, was watching the first few videos of PewDiePie playing Slender, and it's I'm obsessed with PewDiePie, aren't I? Jesus. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. But it's good. I like the silver orbs that kill people. That little science fiction element. It was really low budget, so they clearly couldn't afford to really. So there's a lot of bits where they just, like, there's this bit where they're in like this white room, and there's like this portal thing, and they think, you know, I think that one of the characters is like, I think this is the portal to their world, and they're doing like, and it's obvious they're explaining to the audience what they couldn't actually afford to show. So I mean, obviously there's the show don't tell philosophy in writing. They didn't have the budget to show, so they had to tell. But it's still a good film. There. Then I watched Dracula, the 1958 Hammer horror version with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. I had seen the final scene. I'd seen the final scene. Poet and I don't know. Even though that's rhyming the same word. But anyway, I'd seen the final scene where Peter Cushing, as Van Helsing, chases Dracula through the castle, and then this bit where he jumps up and pulls down the curtains, and that lets the sunlight in, and that Dracula's like, ugh. And then he gets the two candlesticks and crosses them to make the crucifix. I thought, and I'd seen that clip, and I thought it was a really cool kind of action scene, especially for the 50s. It was pretty, and some of the special, like the bit where his hand, Dracula's hand, kind of disintegrates, was a pretty graphic special effect for 1958. There were more that were cut out of that scene. There's an extended version on YouTube, which wasn't in the actual film, where he like tears his face off. And you can see why they cut it out, because for 1958, that was really graphic. He like tears the skin off his face. I wish they'd left it in. I know they're trying to restore it, but it's like really crap quality. It was like this Japanese print. It's like really awful quality. Which is weird, because Japanese usually have really good quality stuff. But anyway, I know that the Japanese vinyl records are considered some of the best in the world. But anyway, I'm moving on. It was one of the few Dracula adaptations I haven't seen. I've seen the Bela Lugosi one, and I'd seen both Nosferatus, but I hadn't seen this one. I haven't seen the what's it called? The 90s one with Gary Oldman. I can't remember what it's called. Well, I know what it's called. It's called Bram Stoker's Dracula. I can't remember the Francis Ford Coppola. That's the name of him. I haven't seen that version, but I've heard that's not like it anyway. But anyway, pretty good. The rest of the film wasn't as good as that final scene. I think that's just 50s films. They're just a bit slow. And they're kind of a bit melodramatic, I think. They're not... I know it's just... I'm not... You know... I'm not saying it's a flaw. It's just the way films were made then. But... Like, there are earlier films I like and later films I like. It's just this one. It's just that... It's just like the 40s and 50s. The way that they made films, there's just something about it. It feels kind of like they'd fallen into kind of formulaic way of doing it that I didn't very much like. But anyway, then I watched Ricky Gervais' most recent special, Armageddon. More of the same crap. More of the same, his expressing his opinion and just having the audience applaud. Very boring. This one I do think was the best of the three most recent ones, because there were a couple of bits where he actually did some, not all, but you know, like he actually did it the way he would have done before. Like there's this bit about where he gets out like this piece of paper that he printed off from a website, which is literally that goes all the way back to 20 years ago now, to animals, where he prints off this stuff like animal facts from this website, and he does this one in this one. There's a website called doesthedogdie.com, and it starts out as a website about, you can tell, you know, you put a name of a film and someone on it will tell you if there's a dog in it and if the dog dies. But then it evolves into pretty much anything that you might have a problem with, and it evolves to the point where, you know, people are putting messages under Schindler's List and saying, is there any anti-Semitism? Yeah, there's a little bit, yeah. So that was really good, and there's this little bit about a little kid called Timmy in a wheelchair and sort of shouting abuse at him, and I find abusive comedy I just find funny, so that was really funny. And there was a couple of other little one-off jokes in it that were funny. So this was definitely the best of the three, but it's also probably the most hypocritical of the three, considering in this, and I cannot, when I heard this, I literally could not, because if you like comedy where comedian expresses opinion, audience applauds, if you like that kind of comedy, which I don't, but if you like that, fine. But it's the fact that in this special, there's a bit where he goes on about how he doesn't like comedians who go on stage, express their opinion and have the audience applaud, when that's literally what he's been doing for the last 3 specials. So, I know, you probably wonder why I'm looking up there. The screen is up there, so that's my face. I should be looking there. I can't help it. It's like, that's what he does, innit? So, that's hypocritical, but it was the funniest of the 3. Humanity had a little bit about a plane crash that was quite funny. And, I don't want guitar lessons. That's great. Supernature still baffles me. The same guy who made Science, which I rewatched again now, recently, I think yesterday. The same man, I actually have it on DVD here. The same man who made this, which is the greatest stand-up special that has ever been made, the funniest. It's only an hour and 20 minutes. It feels like 2 hours worth of material crammed in. I don't know how he did it, because it's not that much longer than Politics, but Politics feels like it lasts half as long. Like, there's so much packed into just an hour and 20 minutes. This is the greatest stand-up special of all time. And knowing that the guy who made this, made Supernature, is baffling. I don't know how he managed to go from being one of the greatest comedians in the world to being one of the worst. I don't know how he managed to do that, but he did, right? It's just very disappointing what's happened with him. Same with South Park in their last special. It's like, we know your opinions. We agree with most of them, but we don't need you to validate our opinions. We already have our opinions. Your job is to make us laugh. But this was the best of the 3 because it had the most actual jokes in it. So that's that. and I'm not being critical because I don't like Ricky Gervais, as I just expressed. Science is the greatest stand-up special of all time, which, by extension, makes Ricky Gervais the greatest comedian of all time. He is the greatest comedian of all time. This stuff that he's doing now is beneath him. Well, it's beneath me, frankly, but especially him, considering the fact that he's meant to be the best, and used to be. It is just depressing to see what's happened. I think what's happened is that he likes this image of himself. Since the Golden Globes, he likes this image of himself as the truth teller. This, like, philosophical sort of saying what has to be said that no one has the balls to say, even though he's been saying it for, like, 5 years. And everyone's been saying it for 5 years. I've been saying it for 5 years. Everyone's been saying it for 5 years. But apparently it hasn't been said enough. It has been said enough. And people, like, the comments under, like, someone, there's clips, obviously, of this one up, and people saying how it's kind of beneath him, and how he's talking about this woke stuff and it's really boring. And other people are like, well, woke wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Yeah, it was. It wasn't called woke. It was called political correctness. And actually, he talks about political correctness in science. He just does it while being funny. You can make jokes about political correctness and still be funny. You don't have to do it and not, you know, be crap. You don't have to be crap. You are capable of being... Anyway, enough about Ricky Gervais being crap. That's what's happened this month. It's been pretty good. I haven't listened to anything. Answering your questions, you haven't left any, because you're not watching. So, there. I hope you've enjoyed this month. Look forward to next month, where I will be playing Alien Isolation on the second channel, Natty Boy. If you don't know how to find it, just go to the description of this video. Go to the final section where it says other stuff, and there's a link that says gaming channel. Click on that. It will take you to Natty Boy, which is my gaming channel. Go to the live tab. You will see it says Alien Isolation 10th Anniversary Replay Part 1. And that is where you will find it. And on the 2nd of January, at some point, this is set to 6 PM. It will be earlier than that. I set it there so that if I sleep in, I never sleep in past 4. So if I sleep in, I still have a couple of hours to get ready and then start. But it will most likely start much earlier than that. It may even start earlier than this one did. This one started at 4. So, or about 4:10. But anyway, that's that. I hope you've had a good Christmas. I hope you've had a good 2023. And I hope you have a happy new year. And I hope it is a good 2024. It probably won't be for the world. I mean, we've got 2 major wars ongoing that we're being told to care about. I care about them, but I don't support anyone in any of them. There's probably little wars going on. I mean, there's always hundreds of wars going on, but these are the 2 main ones that you're being asked to support one side or the other. I don't support any side in a war. I think the only people who win a war are the people who don't fight in the war, which is why I think that the only winners of World War II were Switzerland. But anyway, that's enough of me going on about things I think. Time for you to go on about the things you think. I don't care though, so I'm not going to listen. Goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed the year. Hope you've enjoyed this. Bye.